Okay, modeling factors over here on this breast area. So basically, once you get in your line that separates your light from your dark, that is a clue to say that is where my dark halftone is going to be. So now I'm going to go over this with you got to think of skinny like little rings. And so I'm going to do a circular motion. I'm scribbling in all different directions. Now I got to be careful here. I don't want to I don't want to introduce black into this light statue, and we're not going by the values on my photograph because my photography leaves a lot to be desired. This little line right over here, that little tone, that is my accent. But since we're not seeing the whole ball of that breast, we're not going to get a black accent. Usually it's the darkest dark, where one thing touches another. So that's my dark halftone. That goes from the shoulder right over here on the chest muscle to the breast. So now I'm just going to tone this down a little bit. I want to turn this into the shadow. I'm doing a circular motion with my pencil. Here's my reflected light where I'm going over this with a circle. So now let's put in the light halftone. Now remember, you squint at that cast and it's very, very light in the light. So this is a hard edge. I'm not going to do any modeling factors over there. It's a little bit more boxy. So this is my skinny little light halftone. So now I'm going to work a little bit on this with my eraser. Smudge it out slightly. Let's use the brush without making a racket. And let's just kind of see this line wrapping around the rib cage. That is my cast shadow line. Let's go back now and put in our dark halftone. Okay, so now we're just going to try to turn this breast a little bit more. Dark halftone. You can use a kneaded eraser for this as well. Clean up this area. Tap it a little bit. That will help turn it. And now let's push it one more time. So we're turning a little bit under now over here. Just trying to get this breast to be a little bit more three-dimensional. Don't want to go black. I gotta watch myself. I should have some kind of black on here to give me like a gauge so I know if I'm going too dark. So I'm seeing the modeling factors slightly. This is, again, my accent, which is not black, and here's my cast shadow. Now, that's pretty much where I'm seeing them. Now, I've set this statue up for form light, and we're going to talk about that in another chapter, but basically, if I was going to render, that's how it would be. If I didn't want as much simplistic form light for a teaching kind of demo, I'd put a reflector over here, and that reflector would bounce more light into the shadow, and that would make for a stronger dark halftone. So we can gradate this out. You see it turning a little bit. This one's a little bit more prominent. This one's much easier to see. Okay. So this I just want to tone down before we get into the next chapter. And the next chapter is going to be a little bit more about gradations. Reverse gradations specifically. This I'm not seeing any modeling factors at all. This is just top plane, under plane. Okay, so just to recap, here's my highlight. I didn't do a great job with this. I'm just going to push it a little bit more. And you can have your pencil strokes go with the lay of the land. Highlight, light halftone, dark halftone, reflected light, accent, cast shadow. Highlight, light halftone, dark halftone, reflected light, cast shadow. Not much of an accent there.